Hello again, this is Preheat. Welcome back to another World of Warcraft video. So today we're going to be talking about Spellslinger Arcane. Since with the recent tuning to Arcane and the addition of Aethervision, it looks like Spellslinger is kind of the way to go, since it does the same damage as Sunfury, but just more damage in AOE. And you will notice that my character is a Draktyr. That is not for damage reasons, that is because it's very good on Mythic Queen Antrak, and also because I get to have Glide all the time, which is fantastic. So in terms of like stats and gearing, Spellslinger Arcane is very, very similar to Sunfury. If you're looking for recommendations, your best stat's still going to be haste. And then when it comes to your other stats, there are things that changed in the patch. What I noticed for my character is that versatility was simming way higher than mastery now. But obviously when it comes to stats, you should just sim your own character. I would not be surprised though for your character if you see that your mastery has lost a lot of value and that you want to instead invest in crit and verse. When it comes to trinkets, we're going to want to run the Spymaster's Web still and the Sackbrood. Alternatively, you could also use the Treacherous Transmitter, although this trinket seems to be doing worse for me now as Spellslinger than it was for Sunfury. And also, this trinket's a hassle to use double on use with, so I would much prefer to just use the Sackbrood. For the uninitiated, Arcane has two main resources. So you'll see my mana bar indicated right here. By the way, if you want to get my UI, it's going to be in a link in the video description. But my mana bar is down below here, and as I use my Arcane Blast, you'll see that I gain these Arcane Charges. These charges make Arcane Blasts better, and they also make it cost more mana. Arcane Charges can also be spent, so if you press your Arcane Barrage, this is your spinner, this removes all of your charges. When it comes to the big picture on the rotation, we want to make sure that we're at 4 Arcane Charges as much as possible. So the idea is basically that we want to sit at 4 here, and then we want to use Arcane Barrage whenever we have the ability to maintain those charges. You notice here too, whenever I'm Arcane Blasting, sometimes I'm going to get an Arcane Missiles. Arcane Missiles is something that we want to use whenever we don't currently have Nether Precision. That's this buff right here. Nether Precision is this talent up in the top right. It makes it so that we deal more damage with our next two Arcane Blasts or Arcane Barrages, and this no longer double dips. That was another big change in the patch. Now, whenever we consume Nether Precision, we get a new buff if we have this new talent called Aethervision. So this is the new talent below Nether Precision. This makes it so that whenever we consume Nether Precision, we gain increased damage on Arcane Barrage, and also it's going to give us Arcane Charges back. So it stacks twice. There are 2 Nether Precisions that we get for every missile. So every missile is 2 Nether Precision. Spinning 2 Nether Precision gives us a full Aethervision. Aethervision gives us 4 charges. And it also just does basically the same thing as our 4-piece bonus. It gives us 20% more damage on Arcane Barrage, and it also gives us 4 charges back. The other thing that refunds our charges is Intuition. So that is our 4-piece bonus. Basically, whenever we cast Arcane Blast or Arcane Barrage, we have a small chance to get this buff. Looks like this. And whenever I use my buff here by using Barrage, boom, I'm at 4 charges. Every missile is a free 4 refund. And every Intuition proc is also a 4 refund as well for free. So as you can probably tell, this spec is very proc dependent and a bit RNG because of that. Sometimes you'll have no mana issues because you'll just get all the procs you need. Other times you'll go a long spree without getting Intuition or a missile, and you're going to run out of mana. That's completely normal. Now, we do have another way to get our charges back. So if I don't have any procs, so I have no Nether Precision, I've got no missiles, I've got no Intuition, but Arcane Orb is up, I can also Barrage. And then I can Orb afterwards to get back my charges. And you're going to want to Orb anytime you don't have any of those procs and you are below 4 charges. Just go ahead and send the Orb to get back up. In AOE, which is 3 or more targets, you can also use Arcane Explosion to get 1 charge if you're completely out of charges. But be careful though, if you have Clearcasting and you use Arcane Explosion, it will consume that Clearcasting. The other way that we can get 4 charges is with Touch of the Magi. So if we're ever in a situation where Touch of the Magi is off cooldown, we either just use it on its own to get those 4 charges, or if we already have 4 charges, what we want to do is Barrage into Touch. So that spins the 4, and then it instantly puts them back up and allows us to get 1 extra Barrage off. For single target, you're going to run these talents, so you don't need Arcane Cleave if it's single target, right? We don't have additional targets to cleave, so we don't take that point here. But we're going to be taking Time Loop, and we always take Orb Barrage. Also, this is a new talent. We're taking Signature Spell here, so make sure you have this one. If we add in any additional targets, so we have more than 1 target, we're going to go ahead and take out Energized Familiar, and we're going to put it over here in Arcane Cleave. That's going to give us even more funnel damage, so even more damage on our primary target because of Resonance, giving us more damage on our Arcane Barrage depending on how many targets it hits. Now, if we're doing even more AoE, like a Mythic Plus scenario, or maybe a Mythic Brood Twister, what you could do is take out Time Loop and put it over here into Charged Orb. But yeah, that's basically all the swaps that are going to happen on our talents. The talents for Spellslinger are pretty much locked in. Okay, let's go over the opener. So the opener is basically the same as the Sunfury opener you're used to. So we use Evocation first, and then we're going to queue a missile from this. And then from this missile, what we're going to do is clip the missile since it does not have Aether Attunement. We clip all of our missiles that don't have Aether Attunement. We're going to cast Arcane Surge from it. And then as this Arcane Surge is about to finish, I'm going to apply Touch of the Magi. If I queue it right, the surge damage will actually go into the touch. Right there. So now I have 2 Nether Precision. Touch of the Magi is up. And I have a Clearcasting. So what I'm going to do is do 2 Arcane Blasts here. Okay, so after you've set up your opener, we're basically just going to follow some rules for how the rotation is going to be. So I'm just going to refer to this as the normal rotation. So afterwards, we're going to sometimes be using Barrage, and we'll talk about those cases. We're going to be using missiles if we don't have Nether Precision, and we have Clearcasting available, and we're going to mainly be casting Arcane Blast. We're also going to be using Arcane Orb as well if we are ever, below 4 charges. So, if we have no Clearcast, no Nether Precision, and we have 4 charges, we can just Barrage as long as Orb is available, and then use the Orb afterwards. Basically, the idea for Barrage cases are if we have the ability to do a 4-charge Refunder, and we either have Nether Precision or we don't have Nether Precision, and we don't also have Clearcasting, so we have no way to get it, we would be wanting to Barrage there. We're also going to do it into Touch of the Magi. We're going to do it if we have Orb up and we don't have any Nether Precision or Clearcast. And we're also going to do it if we're about to drop Arcane Tempo. So when it comes to Arcane Barrage cases, we're going to be using Barrage anytime Touch of the Magi is about to be used and we're at 4 charges. We'll be using Barrage anytime we have Arcane Orb available and we don't have Nether Precision or Clearcasting. And we're going to Orb afterwards. Get those charges back. We're going to be Barraging anytime we have Intuition, Nether Precision. We're going to be Barraging anytime we have Intuition and no Nether Precision and no Clearcasting. We're going to be Barraging anytime we have Aethervision ×2 and Nether Precision. We're going to be Barraging anytime we would have 2 Aethervision and no Clearcasting. So in that case, the blast was queued into Barrage, so that's actually 2 Aethervision, even though it only showed 1, since I was casting Arcane Blast. And we're also going to be Barraging anytime our Arcane Tempo is about to fall off in that last global. These Barrage cases are basically the entire complexity behind Spellslinger Arcane. Everything else is super simple, so once you get the Barrage cases down, the rest is pretty easy to understand. If you're having trouble with it, Porom also has a really awesome Weakaura that shows when to Barrage. It just says Barrage now, but just be aware that this goes off of the cases from the default APL. There are some changes I've seen some other players suggest that seem to be just as good. The damage seems exactly the same here with the more simple Barrage cases that don't account for Execute or Enlighten levels. And this is what I'm using because if you follow the Enlightened and the Execute cases, to me, it's harder to do, and I feel like I need to use the Weakaura to tell me when to Barrage now. But if I use the cases that I talked about in this video, I don't have to. I can actually just look at my buffs and do it that way. So I've actually stopped using the Barrage helper because of this. Now, one thing that's interesting about Aethervision is you can both consume the Nether Precision to generate Aethervision and spend Aethervision at the same time if you queue an Arcane Barrage from an Arcane Blast. So as this Arcane Blast is finishing, I have 1 Aethervision, 1 Nether Precision. Okay, I'm going to queue the Barrage from this blast. So for this example, we're doing this one right here. So we have 1 Nether Precision, 1 Aethervision. The blast completes. The result is that we have 2 Aethervision. The Barrage is queued from the blast. We benefit from the 2 Aethervision. What would be even better is if we had 2 Nether Precision here instead of 1, because then whenever we benefit from this Aethervision, we also benefit from the Nether Precision too. In this example, the Barrage is going to do 20% more damage. All right, so let's go over the opener again, but let's keep going afterwards. So this is single target. So we're going to use Evocation for the pull. We're going to use Arcane Missiles. We're going to Arcane Surge into Touch. We're going to blast twice here. We have a missile here, so we're actually going to missile after this one, and then Barrage after. Barrage here. Do 1 blast since we have Nether Precision. Then channel this missile. And then here I'm actually going to do a blast in the Barrage because I have 1 Aethervision, 2 Nether Precision. That means that the 2 Aethervision Barrage will actually benefit from Nether Precision as well. Boom. And then so right here I get an Intuition proc and I have missiles. So I want to apply the missiles here first. And then I want to go ahead and Barrage. And then here I have 1 Nether Precision, and I don't have any other buffs, no Clearcasting, so I'm actually going to queue a Barrage from this, and then Orb afterwards. Oh, it looks like I missed that one. Okay, it's fine. I still did it there. And then, so missiles here, so I'm outside my cooldowns now, right? So we're going to do 2 blasts here, and then we'll see actually when this first blast finishes what we get. So during this blast, I'm going to see if I get a Clearcast. If I don't get a Clearcast, then here I know I'm going to Barrage. And then, so right here, I need 2 Shifting Power. Go a little bit longer. Just see if I get any procs. Shifting Power here, get my cooldowns back up. So here I have no Nether Precision, no Clearcast. I'm just going to Barrage. And then I'm going to use an Arcane Orb here to get back my charges. And then we're going to go and use this Missile here. And then we're going to blast twice. So during this first blast, I see if I get a proc. So I did. So here I'm going to blast. And then right here, I would want to queue the Missile so I get the Nether Precision back for the 2 AV. And then I would Barrage from here. Okay, and Touch of the Magi is about to be up. So I'm going to do 1 Arcane Blast here while I wait. And then right here, I queue the Barrage from that blast. And I'm going to use Touch of the Magi before it hits. And then continue into the normal rotation. So right here, I have Aethervision, no Clearcast, no Nether Precision. I'm just going to queue the Barrage. Missiles proc, so I use missiles. We're going to clip the missile since it's not Aether Attunement. We're going to do 2 Arcane Blasts. On this first blast, I see if I get Clearcasting. I don't, so I know I queue the Barrage. Here we have missiles again, so we'll send the missiles. And then here we do the first Arcane Blast, and then as this completes, I look and see if I get Clearcasting. And I do. So what I'm going to do here is actually use this missile. I also got an Intuition proc, but it's impossible to react in time to something like this. So we need to just do the missile here, and then we Barrage. Okay, and then here I'm going to do an Arcane Blast to consume this 1 Nether Precision. Then we're going to do the missile here, and I would actually queue a Blast into Barrage here. Since I have 1 Aethervision, 2 Nether Precision, that will work. 2 AV, Nether Precision, we're all good. And we use the missile here. So basically, if you're getting a bunch of Clearcast procs, you won't really be using the Orb right away. That's kind of the idea. So again, right here, I see if I get a Clearcast. I don't get one, so I'm going to queue the Barrage here. Okay, and I get the missiles here. So I guess we're not going to use that Orb yet. We use the missiles. Do 2 Arcane Blasts here. I have another missile, so I'm going to go ahead and do a missile here. And then now we Barrage. And then so right here, I don't have any procs. So from this blast, I'm going to queue the Barrage, and then I'm going to Arcane Orb. And then cooldowns are coming up. So basically, I just do the same thing as the opener, except for if I have 4 Arcane Charges, I would Barrage into the Touch of the Magi. And that's really it. It's just going to repeat like this over and over and over. So if you're still struggling with Aethervision, you're not alone. This is a very strange thing to understand. So I went ahead and put this together to kind of give you an idea of the cadence to this. Because, you know, once you understand this, you pretty much get the rotation. So assuming that we have infinite Clearcasting and we do not have Intuition. Okay, no Intuition procs to mess things up. And we have always a missile. We can always missile whenever we want. So if I don't have Nether Precision, I use the missile. The missile gives me 2 Nether Precision. I do the blast. When the blast finishes, I get 1 Nether Precision because 1 is consumed there, and I get 1 Aethervision. Whenever I do this next blast, since I have another Clearcasting, right? I'm going to finish this blast. It's going to give me 2 Aethervision. I'm going to missile. So now we're set up with the 2 Aethervision, and we have the 2 Nether Precision. So I have Nether Precision here. I have 2 Aethervision. I'm going to Barrage here. Then after this Barrage goes off, now I have 1 Nether Precision because it was consumed right here, right? So I have 1 here, so I'm going to do an Arcane Blast. This Arcane Blast consumes the 1 Nether Precision. It turns it into a Aethervision. I do a Missiles here. From the Missiles, now we have 2 Nether Precision, 1 Aethervision. So whenever I do the Blast here and the Blast finishes, we'll have Nether Precision still, and we'll have 2 Aethervision. So actually queue the Barrage from the Blast. So again, the cadence is Missile, Blast, Blast, Missile, Barrage, Blast, Missile, Blast, Barrage. And then the cycle repeats. Just goes over and over and over again. But this is to try and break it down so that you can understand. If you already get it, that's great. If you don't, then try to understand this part. Just be aware of the Blast queuing into Barrage, making sure that you have 2 Nether Precision whenever you go into that, right? So during this Blast, I would still have 2 Nether Precision here. And as it finishes, I cue the Barrage, and then it benefits from the Nether Precision there as well. Now, obviously, once you add Intuition into this, it kind of throws a wrench into things because you're not going to have this Cadence. But just be aware that anytime you Barrage, you're basically clearing out your Aethervision stacks. So you just pick up wherever you are in this thing, right? It doesn't always start here. It could start somewhere else in this. Think of this this timeline as like a circle, right? So this end over here feeds into this end. You could start in any point in this thing. It's just once you're there, you would proceed forward, and then once you get to the end, you loop back to the start here. I say it's the start, but again, there is no start here. This is just an example. Okay, let's talk AoE. So these are the AoE talents. This is if we are not playing Cleave. We're actually playing like actual AoE, so lots of targets. I'd say like 3 or more, at least. And then, so yeah, we use our mirror images, so we don't have threat. We don't want to pull threat. Get our barrier up 2 ahead of time. Use evocation. We're always going to do missile here. So missile into surge. And then as the surge is finishing, again, this is where I'm going to use touch if I don't have 4, or I'll barrage into touch if I do have 4. And then right after that, we want to use Arcane Blast into Barrage here. The reason why is we want the Arcane Blast to benefit from Nether Precision here, and we want it to also proc our Magi Spark. So Magi Spark is the talent down here at the bottom. It makes it so that we get an explosion whenever the target gets our blast, barrage, and missiles damage. Also doubles the damage on our first blast, barrage, and 2 seconds of arcane missiles. So right here, blast in the barrage, like I said. And then we're going to be trying to get Nether Precision back up, so we'll use a missile here. And then I have Intuition proc, so I can just go ahead and barrage twice after this. Barrage, barrage. After that, I'm going to use my arcane missiles to get Nether Precision. And this one I'm going to let fully channel. Or at least try to let that fully channel. And then I did not get a proc here, so I'm going to Arcane Orb. And then we're going to use Barrage again, because we have 4 charges. Boom. And here we have missiles, so we want to put up our Nether Precision with missiles. And then we're going to Barrage again after this. Boom. And I didn't get a proc, so I'm going to Arcane Orb. And then right here, I Barrage again, because I have 4 charges. Okay, and here I get Intuition proc, so I'm going to Barrage again. Barrage again. Barrage again. I'm just getting refunded here over and over again. The goal here, though, is just to basically, once you're outside the cooldowns, you want to be looking at your shifting power. You just want to get full value out of this. So if I shifting power right now, I'm going to get full value on my cooldowns, including Touch of the Magi. And I'm also going to get full value on my orb, even though I only have 8 seconds here, it says. I have 2 charges, right? So I'm going to get full value here. So I'll go ahead and missile here and barrage, barrage. I'm just trying to see if I get like unlucky. And I did here. So I'm going to go ahead and use shifting power. After that, my touch is coming off cooldown. My orb is also coming off cooldown here. So I use my Arcane Orb to get my charges back. By the way, if you don't have an orb here, what you would do is use Arcane Explosion if you're ever at 0 charges. Okay? That is how you get your first charge. And after that, you just use Arcane Blast as your builder. So that's what you're going to do if you don't have... if you're either not like right in melee with the target, or if you don't have the Orb Barrage procs. But it's better to be in melee, obviously. Yeah, and I'm just kind of following the same logic here. So just barraging if I have 4 arcane charges, just regardless of the situation, unless I don't have Nether Precision and I do have Clearcast. In that case, I'll use missiles first. Right here, we're going to go ahead and use the missiles, which gives us Nether Precision. And then we're actually going to barrage into touch since I have 4 arcane charges here. And then afterwards, I want to blast into barrage. You just want to get the blast off as soon as possible so that you get the Magi Spark damage. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. AoE is way more simple than single target for this. And it actually pumps. It does a ton of damage. By the way, the reason I don't have Arcane Familiar in all these tests is because the little bird keeps you in combat sometimes. So that's why I don't use this buff. So yeah, that is going to be it for today. Now, keep in mind, this is still super early, right? We just started playing Spellslinger. I would not be surprised if this stuff changes. So just keep in mind, this is an MMO. Stuff is constantly changing. So make sure that you keep it locked on the channel for any updates to Arcane. If any of this stuff doesn't make sense to you because you just don't understand the basics of Arcane, maybe check out my previous Sunfury guide. A lot of that information about the basics of Mage, not specifically about Sunfury, will still apply in this case. And as always, these videos take a lot of time to put together. So if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more of my content, be sure to subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one.